All right, so now we have to do, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Parallel planes and parallel line and planes. Okay, so planes can be parallel. Planes can be parallel just like they can be perpendicular. So I'm going to pick, maybe if we pick the front and the back of this box. Okay, they are going to be parallel to one another. So I'm going to shade in the front and the back of this box. Okay. And notice on this diagram that it looks like they kind of run into one another. Okay, they look like, they kind of run into one another, but they're really not. They're kind of on different planes, and so the front and the back are going to be parallel to one another. How I would write that, I'll make this a little bit thicker, is that plane, the front of the box could be called AEFB. Plane AEFB would be parallel, use your parallel symbol, to plane. The back of the box could be called HGCD. Okay. And last one, parallel line and plane. So lines and planes can be parallel as well. So let's pick the right side of this box since we haven't yet. Let's color in that. And then a line that's parallel to that plane is just going to be a line that doesn't intersect that plane. So for example, line EA is going to be parallel to that. So how we would write that is plane. The left side of the box we could call CBFG. And that is parallel to line EA. Okay. So, on to the next. So this is where you're really going to want a colored pencil. A transversal. A transversal is not, it's kind of a complicated word for a really easy topic. A transversal is just a line that intersects other lines. Okay, it's just a line that intersects other lines. So in all the diagrams here, I have the bold line T intersecting M and N. So T is our transversal in this case. T, the bold line, is our transversal. So corresponding angles, that's a term. If you notice, there's sets of angles created by the intersection of T and M and N. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, that's kind of the upper foursome. And 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's kind of the lower foursome. All of these angle pairs are going to pick a set from the upper foursome with a set with one from the lower foursome. So think about corresponding. Corresponding, well, if we kind of think about what that word means, corresponding means they kind of match up. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to trace around angle 4. Okay? And if you trace around angle 4 is in the upper foursome, and it's kind of in the lower right position. So if we look at 1, 2, 3, and 4, angle 4 is in the lower right position. So go down to the lower foursome, and which angle is in the lower right position? Well, that would be angle 8. Okay? Whenever you trace corresponding angles, they make an F. So again, corresponding angles, they're angles that have the same position, and they make an F. All right? So angles 8 and angle 4 are corresponding. Pick out another set. Maybe you went with angle 5 and angle 1. Okay? So my F that I just made there, well, it's kind of upside down and backwards and kind of messed up, but it's still an F. All right? Alternate interior angles. Well, what alternate means is on either side of the transversal. So one of these angles is going to be on the left side of the transversal, one's going to be on the right. What interior means, it's going to be on the inside of the two lines. So they're on the inside of M and N. So if we pick out a pair like angle 5 and angle 4. So trace around angle 5 and angle 4. And you see that Z? So once again, alternate means one's on the left, one's on the right. Interior means they're inside the two lines. So 5 and 4 are a set of alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles will always make some sort of Z. Okay? So angle 4 and angle 5 will be alternate interior angles. What's another set? Well, maybe 3 and 6. If we trace around 3 and 6, they make a Z. They make a Z. So angle 3 and angle 6. So alternate interior angles always make a Z. Next one. Oops, keep doing that. Next one is consecutive or same-side interior angles. I'll be honest, your book uses consecutive. I don't like that. An old book that I used to use uses same side. I prefer that, and that's what I typically say. So same-side interior angles. Well, they're a lot like alternate interior angles, except they're going to be on the same side of the transversal, still inside the lines. So let's pick out two angles that are on the same side of the transversal and inside the lines, such as angle 4 and angle 6. They would be same side or consecutive interior angles. Same side or consecutive interior angles typically make some sort of blocky looking C. So angle 4 and angle 6 would be consecutive interior angles. So what's another set? Well, maybe you picked out angle 3 and angle 5. They're consecutive interior or same side interior angles. Okay? Our last angle sets at alternate exterior angles. Well, alternate again means one's going to be on the left, one's going to be on the right. But exterior means they're going to be on the outside of the two lines. So let's pick out two angles, one from the upper foursome, one from the lower foursome, that are on either side of the transversal and on the outside of the lines. So maybe you're looking at 2, right? 2 is on the right side of the transversal, and 7, which is on the left side of the transversal. Angle 2 and angle 7 are alternate exterior angles. All right, what's another set? Maybe you picked out angle 1 and angle 8. Again, alternate, meaning one's on the left, one's on the right. Exterior, meaning they're on the outside of the lines. Alternate exteriors don't make a really great letter shape, but you will see kind of these two 7s, maybe, is a good way to look at it. And then this right here will always be the transversal. Okay? So one more page, guys. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to look at these angle sets and say what's the relationship between. So what I would do if I were you is I would look at angle 1 and 4. I'm going to trace out angle 1, and I'm going to trace out angle 4. And I'm going to make this go all the way up to angle 1. And what I see is I see an F. It's kind of a messed up F. It's upside down, it's backwards, but it's still an F. So what that tells me is that angle 1 and angle 4 are corresponding angles. So why don't you pause this and go ahead and do the rest of them. Okay. Angle 3 and angle 7. They make a C, and so they are going to be same side interior angles. Angle 3 and angle 2, well, I'm looking at those. I don't really need to trace them out. they're going to be vertical angles. Angle 6 and angle 5, if I trace them out, well, I get a Z. It's kind of a really messed up Z, but it's nonetheless a Z. Okay, they are alternate interior angles. Angle 7 and angle 9, well, I don't really need to trace them out. I can automatically tell that they form a linear pair. Okay. Angle 1 and angle 5, well, let's take a look at that. If I trace out angle 1 and I trace out angle 5, they make those kind of 7-looking things. They're alternate exterior angles. And angle 1 and angle 9, well, let's really take a look at this. If I trace out angle 1 and I trace out angle 9, well, that's none of the shapes we've talked about. That's no relationship. Okay, guys, so let me know how you feel about this, and thanks for listening.